We love featuring artists that you should know about. And today we're heading to Missouri to chat with singer-songwriter Becky Denton. Becky grew up in Missouri. She was singing before she could talk. She loves Dolly Parton. And she just released her brand new EP called It Feels Good. And it sure does. We're excited to have Becky Denton on the show. First, Becky, thanks for coming on.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yay.
No problem. Well, you were just in our neck of the woods. You and your husband took a trip to Montana last month. Where did you go?
Oh, my goodness. Yes, I want to be there right now. It was so fun. We stayed around Big Sky in Big Sky, Montana, and West Yellowstone. And so we went on a little fly fishing trip, and I think that was on the Madison River, so it was a little bit of a drive, about an hour drive from Big Sky. And then we went to Yellowstone for one of the days, and I have been, and seen the mountains before, but every time it's just so special, and I think it's so breathtaking. And
amazing.
Yes, I'm ready to go back. So.
Yeah, and you fly fished for the first time. How was that?
Yes, well, thank you for mentioning that. I loved it. I was actually the only girl, but I didn't care. They were very sweet. I said, I'll just, I'll try to, stay out of the way or whatever. But no, they were very, it was just fun. There were, I think, 6 of us in a group. And Will, my husband, he had been a couple times. I think most everybody had been before, except me. And I didn't catch anything, and I didn't care. I mean, I didn't even get a bite. But I was just having so much fun. I got to stand in the water and look up at the mountains, and just the amazing, surroundings that were all around. And that was just it for me. I thought, this is great. I don't need to catch anything. But yes, we had a blast. So
yeah. Well, your first full length came out, 5-6 years ago? Fire and Grace?
Yes, 2019 I released Fire and Grace. It had 10 songs on it, and it was compiled over about 3 or 4 years. And so since that time I've released a couple, I guess something every year. So I was looking on my Spotify discography the other day, and so I may not release a ton of music, but I have something for every year, so I'm holding on to that.
Well, exactly. And a brand new EP, It Feels Good, just came out a couple weeks ago. So tell us the transition. How do we go from being a mom in Missouri to start doing stuff in Nashville? Was it your husband? What happened?
No. Well, I started going to Nashville. My first trip was in 2005. That was my very first trip. Yes, and I started performing and singing out after college. So I had that feeling I really want to do this, but it wasn't until later, that I started to really realize, I just can't let go of this. And so I started singing more and out, doing gigs. And then, my second trip to Nashville was 2006, and I did some writers' nights. Probably I started doing those in maybe 2008 in Nashville. I didn't meet Will until 2010, and he was actually with a group called the Jane Deere Girls, and they came to Columbia, Missouri, and my band at the time, we opened up for that act at a venue around here. It was called Whiskey Wild. It used to be called the Silver Bullet. So, and that's where I would, go sometimes. I went to Mizzou in college, and so they had a Wednesday night, I think, for minors, and I would go there. But anyway, so I met Will for the first time in 2010, and we said hi, met each other, and I guess over a couple years, a few years, tried to write a couple times, or it seemed, and just remain friends. And then, things just happened, and I realized, gosh, this, we ended up getting married. So life is really crazy, and but I'm really thankful for Will and all of his guidance, and doing music together. We help each other a lot. So things that I can't do, Will can do, and so yeah, I feel like we're a pretty good team, and we have a gig tomorrow actually around Florida, Missouri.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I didn't meet Will until later. I was going to Nashville before I met him, and but we still make it to Nashville, and we have family, in that area, and even further south. Will's from Georgia, so but yeah, we try to just try to connect the dots, from Missouri to Nashville when we need to, and I still try to remain, in touch with the people that I write with there. And we also have Will's in a tribute band called the Heart Shakers out of Nashville, and they're stellar. And so I got to do a little bit of I've gotten to do a little bit of performing with them, and that's been a real blessing and a real treat.
Yeah, because Will is he's a drummer. He's a touring drummer. He's played with Tracy Lawrence, LeAnn Rimes, all kinds of people. So, yeah, he's also in the business. We're chatting with Becky Denton. Go check her out, BeckyDenton.com. She's on Instagram, Facebook. Her new EP, It Feels Good, is out now. Well, you're living in Missouri. You mentioned you went to University of Missouri. You were a cheerleader. Yeah. It's football season. I mean, what's your fandom like? Because, I graduated from Wyoming, so you're always a fan. But you were right in it as a cheerleader. Do you still follow the team? Are you a crazy fan? What?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm a crazy fan, but we keep up with the SEC, stats, because Will's a huge Georgia Bulldogs fan. Oh, so, we kind of have a little bit of fun with that. Who are the Tigers? That's what Will likes to say. And so, but, because he's still floating on, Georgia winning the national championship the last couple of years. So, but Mizzou hasn't lost a game yet. And, so I'm really proud of that. And, but cheering for Mizzou, I did that for 1 year, and it was another, I guess, avenue for me to perform. And it was one of the best experiences of my life. I loved it, and I loved just being out, performing. And so yeah, I do follow them, and I know their record so far. So, but I'm not a crazy fan. I don't think.
Yeah, well, tell him to watch out, because Missouri's looking pretty good this year. Just like Becky said, they're sitting at 4-0. So who knows? Yeah. This tropical Americana, which you've kind of gotten into. I haven't heard of this until like a year ago when I was interviewing a band, and they went down to Florida and were performing. And this is like a whole culture in itself. How long have you been performing, or when did they find you, or how did you get into this? Right? I know. I had no idea. It was like trop rock was a thing. Yeah. Until I released Two Bags, One Beach. I think that was in 2018, maybe. I wrote that song with Bill White, and Bill White is such a great friend and writer. He's out of Nashville, and he's actually from Missouri. I got connected to him through another mutual friend here in Missouri who would book me for gigs. Anyway, so he, I think, opened the doors for me in many ways for that scene. And then I have I have an uncle, Dan Sullivan is his name, and he's an author, and he lives out by your neck of the woods, and so my Aunt Amy and Dan, they've liked that music, I think, for some time, and they live in Idaho, Boise, Idaho. Okay. And so anyway, so it's just funny how the dots continue to be connected, but that kind of opened the doors, and we went to Meeting of the Minds. Will and I did, I think that was in 2018, and we played some of our trop rock things, and the people there are so nice, and they've
it seems like that world, that trop rock radio world, if I release something, they've been kind of, give it some spins but I haven't done a lot of bookings in that world, but yes, I like I guess, what do you want to say? It's just kind of, everybody's happy, it seems.
Yeah.
So, the parrot heads, I don't know.
Well, exactly. It's kind of the Jimmy Buffett vibe, the beach vibe.
Right.
How can you not be happy?
I know. It's kind of like the mountain scene. If you're standing in the clear water looking up at the mountains, how can you not be happy? I mean, it's just God's gifts of nature. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, and your music, when you mentioned Two Bags, One Beach, even I Love Dolly, it all has kind of like the beachy vibe or the I don't know what it is, but it feels good, just like your new EP. But
well, thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
No, and I mean I can see why you're in it, or why they found you. This Saturday, you're playing a gig that's kind of like a Jimmy Buffett flavor at this Florida winery, and I saw the Florida winery. I was like, oh, she's in Florida. No, it's actually in Missouri, the Florida winery.
I know. Yes. It's one of our favorite places to play around here. It's on right by the Mark Twain Lake, and the Florida, Missouri is actually the birthplace of the famous author Mark Twain.
Yeah.
And that's what really makes it special. And Florida is about 25 minutes away from where I live here in Missouri. So it's not that far. But yeah, this is the 8th annual Market Twainaville, and they have a catering service with the Cheeseburger in Paradise meal, and we're playing, and then another act, Mike Moore, is also playing, and people go and they have a costume contest, like the best parrot head costume. And it's just so much fun. And this year they're celebrating Jimmy Buffett and his life, and also my friend Charlene Hagan. She actually founded the event, and she's she organized it, and she's the late wife of Dr. Hagan. He's since married Miss Lisa Rice, and so they're married now, but Dr. Hagan and Charlene, they did the Market Twainaville for many years, and Charlene was able to get some music signed by Jimmy Buffett. She was always wanting him to come to Florida, Missouri, but she wasn't able to get that done. But she's from Florida, I believe, and so she was. We're going to be celebrating her as well. And Will and I are working up come Monday, and I have fallen in love with that song, and I watched the video on YouTube. If y'all have time, you should check it out because it's so sweet. It's just the sweetest, and so I'm looking forward to singing that.
Yeah, be a great show Saturday night. If you're in Florida, Missouri, go check her out at the Florida Winery. We're chatting with Becky Denton. Go check her out, BeckyDenton.com. She's on Instagram, Facebook. Her new EP, It Feels Good, is out now. You mentioned Mark Twain Lake. If you look at the cover of the new EP, you think you're in actually Florida, but that's actually Mark Twain Lake, right?
Yes, I really appreciate you doing so much homework, Jeff. Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, so Will and I I think that was our third attempt at that picture. The first time, we were just actually, I didn't have a swimsuit on, but I had, we were trying to capture. I know. I had oh, goodness. I had clothes on, where, my shorts and t-shirt. Oh my goodness. So anyway, then we saw the light and how it was working, and so I thought it would be kind of cool to, we thought, well, let's go back and try it again. And yeah, Will took that shot, and I think it's amazing. I love how it's so beautiful there. There's a place where it's called Buzzard's Roost, and we actually got married there, and it overlooks the lake. And then if you go down this little hill, there's all of this rock, and you can, if you want to throw a pole in, you can, but you can watch the boats go by, and it's just beautiful. And so I feel like that picture captures what, the title track is. It feels good. One of my favorite things is just being out in the sun, feeling the warmth of the sun and being near the water and just being active. And so that's why we picked that, those shots for the EP, for the album.
Yeah, it feels good. Go check it out, the cover shot and the back shot, both of them from Mark Twain Lake. And you can see Becky in her swimsuit. She looks amazing.
Thank you.
This EP, this is like part one of new music. Because what happened here? You wrote some songs. The other songs got a different vibe. Because this one, these songs do have a feel-good vibe to them. So how did that work?
Right. So we tracked the songs in Nashville, East Nashville, 2021, I believe. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. It could have been, I'm sorry. We tracked the songs with the bass, guitar, drums, and piano, and our keys. And then after we started thinking about it, and like, I knew one of the songs just didn't go with, some of the others. And then I had another song called Plant a Little Seed, and it has, it kind of fit in with this other song that I wrote with Erica Sunshine Lee. It's called Me and Jesus. And so those songs are going to be on a second part of, I guess, the EP. But they'll be in another batch of music coming up. But it feels good. It's got a little bit of a romantic theme to it, and it's just, I just felt like that vibe. They all needed to go together, and then put the next batch of music on, another project.
Yeah, so more music is coming from Becky. You co-wrote every one of these songs on It Feels Good.
I did.
You must like writing with other people. I
do. Well, I like writing with people who are way better at it than me.
Well, there you go.
I feel like, the people that I've written these songs with, they're very talented. Erica Sunshine Lee, she wrote, and she's in the trop rock world too, but she's actually coming out with a country western record soon. And she wrote, It Feels Good and Melt Into You on this project. And then, of course, Bill White, I said earlier, he's such a great writer. It's so easy for him. And he came to me with the title Houdini. And then my friend Natalie Murphy, she's also an artist out of Nashville, and she came to me with the title Erase Her. And she's coming out with some new music too, sometime in the near future. But yes, everybody's just super talented at writing. And Erica, she's told me before, she just loves to write. I like to write. I love to perform. I love to sing. And I feel like, just trying to surround myself with people who are really good at that. I'm always really thankful. So I'm thankful they wanted to write these songs with me. So
yeah, it works. That's for sure. It feels good. It feels good when you got somebody to hold. Freebird flying high, rock and roll, sweet salvation in your soul. That's solid gold. That's awesome.
Aww.
Is this song about your daughter? Tell us about what It Feels Good's coming from.
Right. So the first chorus can be about my daughter Celia, but it can also be about Will. I've just started to promote, this song, and it's basically, it's about if you've got somebody in your life or many people in your life that you want to hold, give them a hug. It feels good to do that. It feels good to receive it. And, it's basically, what kind of things make you feel good, because there's a lot about life that, if you really think about it, it makes you feel good. And I kind of kick it off with, the verse is strawberry daiquiri, standing on my bare feet, throwing a frisbee on the beach. It feels good. Mama's old wooden swing, sipping on the real thing, catching one on the riverbank. It feels good. And then, the chorus, we changed up the second line. So, like, it feels good when you got somebody to hold. Classic country never gets old. And then just sweet salvation in your soul, that solid gold. It feels good. And then the last couple, Me and Willie Back on the Road. And I kind of laughed because, that was meant as Willie Nelson, just kind of a little play on words. But, one of Will's nicknames is Big Willie. So the Heartshakers call him Big Willie. So, and then my daughter and I, we call him, Celia calls him Willie Boy. So it's just kind of funny. But, and then the last verse is kind of takes it home, clinging to that rugged cross. He already paid the cost and found my soul when it was lost, and it feels good. So I just feel like the song can hit a lot of different points, and I felt like it really captured what I wanted to say for the whole project.
Yeah, it feels good. Go and check it out. Becky Denton, you can see her tonight on Facebook Live. She's going to be doing it at 4:30 our time, 5:30 Central. So go and find her, Becky Denton Music, on Facebook. You can hear all more about It Feels Good. And Saturday night, go and see her at the Florida Winery in Florida, Missouri. Becky, thanks so much for coming on.
Oh, Jeff, thank you so much. You have been so much fun to talk with, and thank you again for having me.
Yeah, no problem. We'll do it again. It feels good. It's
okay.
Becky Denton. It's KIX 96.5.